Welcome, my name is Papa Crescendo, and this is the easiest, best keto cheesecake recipe on YouTube. You will not find one that's even close to this one. This is a sugar-free, super low-carb, keto, real vanilla bean cheesecake infused with sour cream topping, drenched in Blueberry Raspberry Coulis, with an almond butter crust. This is to die for. Let's get into it. Let's start with the almond butter crust. First, you'll need 1 cup of almond flour. You can also weigh it at 8 ounces. Then, you will need 2.5 ounces of melted butter. I like to use the grass-fed butter. Now it's time for us to use our sweetener. If you're using monk fruit, which I like to use, it's 1-for-1 with sugar. So you're going to use 1.5 tablespoons of monk fruit. If you're using stevia, only use half a tablespoon. If you're using erythritol, 2 tablespoons will do. Now add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and continue to mix it well. You can add more almond flour if needed. This is for a 9-inch pan, so if you're working with a 12-inch pan, feel free to add more almond flour. You should have enough butter in there to make it spread into a 12-inch pan. I don't like to make too thick of a crust. And also, if you want to adjust the butter, you certainly can. The sweetener should also be enough. Go ahead and spread it out evenly until you achieve this. Don't be afraid to use your fingers to achieve it. Oops, I forgot to tell you to preheat the oven to 350. That would help. Bake it for 8 minutes and then pull it out to cool. Now it's cheesecake time. You need 32 ounces of cream cheese. That's a total of 4 bricks. Add 1.5 cups of monk fruit and half a cup of stevia. If you're only working with monk fruit, you can use 2 cups of monk fruit. If you only work with stevia, then do 1 cup of stevia because it's much sweeter. If you're working with erythritol, use 2.5 cups of erythritol. Trust me, the sweetener will be fine. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. Now here come the secrets. Use half a cup of heavy whipping cream. Go ahead and start mixing this up. Start on the slow speeds and then speed up so you don't get it all over the place. Now add 4 tablespoons of almond flour. This will help mend everything together. And 2 cups of sour cream. A pinch of salt. And now 4 whole vanilla beans. It's very important that you have a sharp knife to cut it in half. Just slice it in half without going all the way through. Then spread it apart. Since I don't have a cameraman, I can't show you, but you need to scrape all of those beans in there into your mixture. And do this with 4 stalks, so you have plenty of vanilla bean. And now you're ready for the eggs. You're going to need a total of 4 eggs, but add 1 at a time and then mix. But you don't want to overmix, so just mix it well enough and then put the next one in. Spatula to scoot down some of the sides, and then add another egg and so on. Now the piece de resistance. 1 3/4 tablespoons of lemon juice. This seals it all together. Make sure that no lemon seeds fall into the mixture. When mixing, we're going to get ready to pour it into crust. But first, take some parchment paper and cut it in strips and grease the pan with a little bit of grease spray and line the pan like so. This will help once the pie begins to rise, and it'll also give it nice smooth edges. Yeah, I know it's not a pie, I just don't want to redo the audio. pour it in, don't be scared, and it's ready to go. And I would take a couple fingers, dip it in there, and taste it, because it tastes awesome. Check out the vanilla bean. Looks incredible, especially in 4K. If you are fortunate enough to have a 4K TV. I don't yet, but someday maybe. Go ahead and put it in the oven at 350 degrees and leave it in for 45 minutes. Then turn off the oven and leave it in there for 15 minutes. All ovens cook differently, so keep an eye on it and see how it's toasting up. You can always pull it out and shake it a little bit. If it jiggles too much, leave it in longer. If it's not jiggling too much, you can take it out and let it rest. I forgot to mention to put a cookie sheet underneath the cake because it will leak. Butter will come out of the bottom, so if you don't want your oven to burn and stuff, put a cookie sheet underneath. This is what it should look like when you pull it out, and let it sit for about 10 minutes while we prepare the sour cream topping. Now it's time for the Sour Cream Fusion Deluxe. Here we go. You need 2 cups of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of monk fruit, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now stir it up like you just don't care. Now it's stirred and ready to go on top of the cheesecake. Now go ahead and put it on top with your spatula or your tool, and be generous because you're going to have a lot, and that's okay. Put it on top, spread it evenly, and we're good to go solo. So it needs to look something like this. Now put it back in the oven and bake it at 350 for 10 minutes. This is where the fusion happens. While that's fusing, now it's time to make the coulis. Now you can make the coulis with any kind of berries. You can do 2 cups of blueberries, and I just did 1 cup of raspberries and 1 cup of blueberries. Heat it up in a pan and it'll just start working on its own. Add 3 tablespoons of monk fruit and a 1/4 cup of water and some lemon juice. That's 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Just let it simmer until it thickens and then let it sit to cool for a little bit. As your coulis is cooling, pull the cheesecake out of the oven and let that cool off as well. Maybe about 10 minutes or so. And then pour the coulis on top of the cheesecake and voila! This is what you have. Now all you have to do is put it in the refrigerator for at least 5 hours or overnight. In the morning, just take it out of the refrigerator, take it out of its case, and peel off the parchment paper. And then it's ready for you to display in your best cake display. And you're ready to cut. Use a hot knife to cut when you're ready. I like to take it out about a half hour before serving to let it sit for a little bit. And now it's time to show it off at a party. This is an actual party where the guests fell in love with a recipe they had no idea was low carb and no sugar, with the exception of the berries, of course. Delicious keto with only about 5 net carbs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. If you make it, let us know how it tastes. Have a happy new year, and may God bless you richly.